Sometimes I think that we focus way too much on, are we saying the right things for this external audience? And we don't really focus on how we feel ourselves about our own message. And I think that that's really the true ingredient, because if you understand what your core messaging is, and if you understand how to present the value of what you do for other people, it means that you also value it. Like if you can express what that value is, it makes you value it in a bigger way than you ever have before. And yes, communication, I mean, it's a two-way thing, right? You have to put things into terms that are about the other person that you're trying to help and why this matters to them and why it's important to them and why they should care. But at the same time, you can't deny yourself as part of that equation, because you're birthing this thing into the world. You're creating this thing into the world. If you are a coach, if you're a consultant, if you're an online business owner, if you're the face of that business and you've created something because you want to help others and you want to make a difference, and you've done this thing, right? Like you've been called to do this thing for some reason, right? We have to uncover through a process what that value is for you and what that represents for you, so that you can adequately express that out into the world. And that's why you're not going to get that in these business programs that have a module or two that are dedicated to your marketing message. It takes time, and it takes, in my case, my process with my clients is to ask them a shit ton of questions. Like a lot of questions, to the point where they're annoyed that I'm asking them so many questions, because that's where all of this lies, because your core messaging is inside of you right now as we speak. Subconsciously, you know what it is. We just need to bring it to the surface. And the way we do that is through asking a lot of questions. You can't do that inside of a, program that is 6 weeks long, or there's 1 or 2 modules, and then we're going to move on to funnel creation and like whatever else they've sold you into, right? You have to really take that time to do it. And this is like laying the foundation of a house. If you want a shoddy foundation, then by all means do that. Go for it. If you want a foundation that's quick and it's done, great. But is it going to stand the test of time? Probably not. You're probably going to have to come back to it. You're probably going to have to update it. You're probably going to have to fix something later on, because you've built a house on a shoddy foundation and the walls are going to cave in at some point. Or you're going to have this ramshackle house, and on the outside, like it looks okay, but inside it's a big old mess. That's a Clueless line, but she said it about Monet. She's like, full on Monet. Far away, it looks okay, but up close, it's a big old mess, right? You have to know what that core messaging is. And I can tell you that when you actually value the messaging, it makes you sit up more, because you're by proxy starting to value yourself. And that is the thing that will make the biggest difference in your marketing, is if you value yourself. And so for me, the best analogy to explain this really is that story of Cinderella and the process of this person who was discarded, disregarded, not valued, right? But who was still a kind soul anyway, and still had all these amazing qualities. Like she went from being this person that literally slept in the ashes, that's why they called her Cinderella, and gave her all the shit jobs in the house, to the belle of the ball, princess. Like it was this total and complete transformation. And you could argue about whether or not we want the prince at the end, whatever. But the point is that she goes through this transformation. And that's what I view Fairy Godmother as, right? It's a metaphor of like internal transformation. And it's an internal glow up that then the outside matches the inside. And that's my goal for you, is for the outside, right? The words that you're using to promote your business, the words on your website, the things you're telling people in emails, like your core messaging needs to match the inside. And so often that doesn't happen, and it's not your fault. It's because it's really hard to see ourselves in that way. It's hard to really understand what that value is that we bring to the table, because you can't read the outside label from inside the bottle, right? I've said this before. It's hard to do that by yourself. And so through a process of me asking you tons of questions, seeing those pieces, right? And seeing that messaging emerge, like that's my gift to you. That's my gift. And that's what I'm meant to do in this world. Like I can immediately see what makes you special. I've had 30-minute free consultation calls where somebody has been speaking and I'm like, well, you just said it. It's this and this. And they're like, how did you do that? This is just what I do. This is my gift. And this is what I have to offer. I have that outside perspective and it comes to me really quickly. It's like, it just happens. I just see it and I can put it into the words and the language for you. And then when we go through that process, it's transformational for you. And because it's transformational for you, it's also transformational for other people. Other people react to that. Other people react to that energy. Other people react to the words on your website differently, because now they're really reflecting your value and what you bring to the table. And people are like, oh my God, I feel so seen. Oh my God, you totally get me. Oh my God, I can't wait to work with you. But we just have to get to that place first. And it's already within you. I promise you, it's already there. So if this is something that you're interested in, I highly recommend you do it, because it's a gift to yourself. You know, don't be sleeping in the ashes. You don't need to be sleeping in the ashes, right? We don't want that. We want the transformation. We want to go to the ball. We want to have the sparkly dress. Like we want to do that. We want to do that. And you owe it to yourself. You owe it to your clients. Hope this was helpful. I'll see you in the next one.